Time for another board recap podcast. Dr. Smith, how are you today?
Very good.
Okay.
It's As we record this, it's a Tuesday. It's going to be a gorgeous day, a very active day. But attended a Youth First appreciation breakfast honoring some great folks, Bob and Judy Griffin, that have been very important to Youth First. And as you know, Youth First is very important to
Absolutely.
us. So just a great community gathering. And
Another example, and you've mentioned frequently how just as of late, it seems like there's been a few more than normal, just community type events that you've gotten to participate in. And I know you enjoy that as much as any aspect of your job, just to see how much our community is doing to support everyone living here.
certainly doing the interconnectedness of
Yeah.
everyone, 181,000 residents in Vandenberg County, but haven't lost that personal touch either. So
Yeah, and we say this all the
good
time.
times.
Not sure every community around our nation maybe has this synergy that we have. We're very fortunate.
In fact, every time, I shouldn't say every time, but certainly once a month, I'm reminded from individuals that either have had folks come in or that they have gone out and visited with other communities that this is a special place.
Absolutely. And we can't take that for granted. Well, let's
We certainly should not.
jump into last night's school board meeting. We'll start, as always, with good news. So,
Good.
lots of good news to share with our listeners. Dr. Smith, we'll start with let's rewind back to the Fall Festival. Things move so fast. That seems like a long time ago now, but it really wasn't too far in the past. But, a lot of great things we all know go on at the Fall Festival, and a great community event. But one of the really special things is that our Nut Clubbers put on is their Special Kids Day. And this is where all of our teachers of exceptional learners with our students go down to the Fall Festival. And I mean, these students, regardless of any kind of need, any kind of disability, any issue they face, Nut Club members jump in and just ensure that they have a fantastic day. And it is certainly a high point for so many of these students. And the teachers love it too. And I think so do members of the Nut Club.
Well, I think so. And first of all, I'd like to extend my appreciation to all the staff that made that work. Certainly, our schools, our transportation department,
Yes.
our special ed assistants, and our special education teachers. Without them, this would not have happened. And, to the extent to where I think there's a picture in the lower right-hand corner for those of you that are actually able to view this podcast and not just listen. That teacher carried that student up the steps so
Right.
that he could experience the
That
thrill
slide. Yeah.
of coming down the slide. That's just one small example that I want everybody to know does not go unnoticed that
Absolutely.
makes this work for our kids. And then finally, um, listeners may recall that when we proposed the calendar for the school year, and that was last year, we proposed fall break to actually occur during Fall Festival.
That is true.
We Our thinking was that this would be of benefit for our families and for uh, the Fall Festival and our schools to have those events occur at the same time. It wasn't too long after that proposal was put out for community feedback that members of the Nut Club said, we appreciate you letting us know this, but we also want you to know how important that day is to us
Yes,
and
they
for
did.
us. And if we're on break, is there any way that we could still make that day happen for our special needs kids? So I think that just shows the nature of, uh, and more than just the nature, just the real intent behind the Fall Festival
Mhm.
and the Nut Club members of the community mindedness and the spirit that they have for all individuals that they serve.
Yeah,
So
really is amazing. I appreciate you lifting that because
yeah,
that just told you everything you really needed to know last year when they
you bet.
lifted that. Continuing on through good news, congratulations to the Pride of Bossy, the Marching Bulldogs. They earned a second place at the Scholastic State Finals. They entered a different category this year and did very well. So
Yes, they did.
proud of those students and everyone associated with the band. As we know, lots of work goes into that activity. October cause for applause. We love celebrating our employee of the month. And
Yeah.
this month in October, it was Jamie Wright. Jamie is the head custodian at Cynthia Heights Elementary School. I worked with her several years ago and saw firsthand her dedication, just really a top-notch person, and the whole school came out to celebrate her. So we always love those surprise announcements.
Yes, we do.
Also, with good news, just lifting again. We've done this lately. We've talked about some of the activities and certainly haven't captured all of them, but just lifting some of them, where in particular our high schools have really done some really neat community type events. We talked recently about a high school that partnered with a nearby senior facility. I saw another high school did that recently. Well, some of our schools, including Bossy High School and some others, recently supported a great local organization, Chemo Buddies, that really volunteer and help support people as they're getting their chemotherapy. And just an all in event at the football games. But I know you always like to see this too, where our kids get to interact and support top notch community organizations.
You bet. We want all of our students when they graduate to know that we expect them to be servant leaders in the community.
Yes.
And it's great to see the evidence that they are stepping up and doing that before they graduate.
Yes.
I think we have
Several of our high
pictures of
schools did this.
North
Yes.
and Central on the screen, and we know you lifted Bossy. So
Yeah.
proud of our students.
Definitely, definitely. Continuing to move through good news. We talked briefly about the high school band with Bossy. Let's talk about two more of our high school bands. They have qualified for the uh, ISSMA State Marching Band Finals. That is this Saturday at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That is Wrights High School and North High School. They've had phenomenal seasons, and best luck to them. And we're really looking forward to seeing them competing on that stage.
Yes, we are. I know they'll both do great.
Yeah, I really think they will. A lot of positivity going on there. Also wanted to lift up really such a nice event we were able to host recently, and that was our EVSC Options Fair. We brought all of our high school innovative models together under one roof. It was really designed specifically for eighth graders and their families just to come out and see all of the different innovative model options they have for high school. We always tout all the great things that go on with our traditional high schools, and you can't beat those. But if you want to be part of your traditional high school and maybe also attend a half day program for most of these cases in a real specialized area, for example, the Academy of Science and Medicine, the Academy for Future Educators, I could go on and on. We're fortunate to be able to offer these to our students.
We are. I was actually at an event Saturday evening where I was talking to a parent that was also a graduate of our schools, but that parent now has a seventh and eighth grader in our schools. So they went to the school options fair for their eighth grade son, and he remarked he was truly astonished at all of the
Sure.
opportunities that kids have today. And he was very appreciative of all the things that EVSC is providing for kids so that they can get just a, real, it's not just exposure, but so that they have opportunities that will set them up for success in life.
Certainly, and especially if they have a particular interest where they can really do a deep dive
Right.
into that, in addition to all of the other things
Yes.
they do in high school, it does set them up for
Right.
success, and that's the name of the game.
And I know that we've talked about this a lot, but to hear our parents speak of the exceptional opportunities that their students have is really gratifying for me.
Yes, most definitely. Also, then talking about state bound, we talked about marching band. Let's talk about, in this case, from fall sports, some individual student athletes that are state bound. So I'm just going to do what I did last night and lift these names quickly. We had two students from North Boys Tennis. They played doubles. They are advancing to the state tennis tournament. That's Nathan Mitchell and Jacob Hafley. Also from North High School in cross country, Kyle Sturchy. Also from North High School in girls golf recently, Kylie Standring qualified for state. And then at Wrights High School, the boys team in cross country advanced to the state competition. And then also Cordelia Hoover advanced as an individual in cross country at Wrights High School. And best of luck to all of those student athletes as they compete on the big stage at the state level.
It's exciting. And we also have a lot of our fall plays going on now, too. So,
Absolutely. And we still have two of our high school football teams that are playing in the
yeah,
postseason. So lots of great activities going on with our students, and best of luck to all of them.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's move into consent items, if you will.
All right. Moving on to item 3.02, consideration allowance of payments, total $21,454,237.44. Now, that is an amount that is higher than it usually is, but this was for a longer period of time, actually reaching all the way back for some payments on September 5th, the 25th, and the 29th. And then for the first portion of October includes two pays and includes taking out insurance payments and deductions as well as paying state taxes on behalf of our employees. So that's why it was a little bit larger, plus more than $3 million in invoices, also a larger amount. But for a longer period of time. Item 3.03, consideration to approve the agreement with the University of Indianapolis for special education certification programs. So, as part of the transition to teaching program that we have in the state, because I've lifted several times that we have over 6,000 teachers on an emergency permit. So, what this program will do, the Indiana Department of Education had provided scholarships for individuals that had um, certification, a bachelor's degree, or a teaching license, but were not licensed for special education services. They provided scholarships for individuals then to obtain their special education certification. Unfortunately, there are only 3 universities that are offering that in the state. So the department put individuals on wait list. Well, we had hired great employees that with the promise that those courses that were now required would be funded for them. When the state put folks on wait lists, then we decided as a corporation to step up and to fulfill the promise that had been um, that under which they had agreed to accept employment. So we're providing some scholarship money for individuals in the hopes that the state will remove that wait list second semester. But it's basically a win for everybody. Our students get access to great teachers. The promise that the state had made to our employees now will still be fulfilled. It will just be fulfilled by us, and then hopefully the state will be able to pick that up second semester.
Excellent, excellent. And you're right. That is a win for everyone involved.
Yes. Item 3.04, consideration to approve the change order number 1 for Vogel Elementary School Playground Project of 2023. So basically, we just installed some additional chain link fence to make certain that that perimeter was secure. As we know that we have Vogel is bordered by some busy streets, and we just wanted to make certain that that was taken care of. Item 3.05, consideration to approve change order number 1 for the Bossy High School security camera project of 2023. And what this is doing is simply replacing the network rack that our equipment goes into because the new equipment doesn't fit into the old rack. Item 3.06, consideration to approve the drainage easement regarding property near Harrison High School. So the Eichelhart Foundation has done great work with that
Tremendous amount of
property.
work on this
Yes,
property.
as well as in property that adjoins or abuts our property at Harrison. So this is simply having them tie into the existing drainage system. So we needed to provide a very small easement in order for that work to be accomplished. But tell you what, great community asset that we have in that property that the Eichelhart Foundation is managing.
Yeah, a beautiful home that sits back in there too. A
Very
historic
much,
home.
yes. Item 3.07, consideration to approve fine arts music instructor agreement. So we are pleased to be able to offer this. We appreciate the board's approval, and Emily is an outstanding harpist. So EVSC students that are interested in learning harp will now be afforded that opportunity.
What a great opportunity because there's not just a lot of people out there, I would imagine, to teach how to play the harp.
Yep, you don't see many harpists around,
Right.
and that means you don't see many harp teachers around. So
Sure.
she's outstanding, and we are excited to engage her for our students. And then item 3.08, consideration to approve the revised calendar for the 23-24 school year. And you did not know I was going to do this, but Jason, I'm going to turn this over to you, the calendar committee, and the work that you've done with the solar eclipse local group here. If you could kind of take it away.
Well, there is a task force meeting, and word is going out to our families, our employees, as we speak about this. But yeah, our community is going to experience a total solar eclipse on April the 8th. We all remember the last eclipse several years ago, but that was not total. If you remember, Dr. Smith, this is going to be that. So it's going to be quite an experience. A lot of people are going to be coming into the area. The task force and local business, Visit Evansville, all those organizations are really promoting this. It's a great way to bring people into our community and see everything we have to offer and experience that eclipse. So the key this time is this eclipse is going to happen slightly after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when the traffic we anticipate will be the heaviest, and that is just about crunch time for student dismissal. So we were afraid it could cause maybe some safety issues. A lot of people on the road, especially out of town visitors, not familiar with the streets and could cause delays. So, we're going to make this day a day where we are not in session on August 8th. We already have safety glasses for all of our students. We can send those home. Teachers can, as it gets closer, provide instruction on how to utilize those. We previously, on the last version of the calendar, the most recent one had April the 19th as a potential makeup day. We're just going to take that day off, put that on the 8th. So we will go to school on the 19th. We won't go to school on the 8th. We are putting a note out, though, that we're going to reserve this as a potential virtual makeup day if, and we cross our fingers this doesn't happen, but if we have a really snowy winter and have to have multiple school cancellations, we may have to have some virtual school on that day, but it won't be in session so that our students will be home during the eclipse. And that information is going out to everyone involved as we speak so that everyone is aware of that.
I appreciate that, and I do appreciate your service on that task force for the eclipse. And as you so succinctly said, with the eclipse occurring very close to our dismissal,
That's really the difference.
we've talked to individuals when they were in Hopkinsville. I think it was 2019.
I think so, and because of they did experience pretty close to a total eclipse there,
Right.
where we had a slightly lesser
Yeah.
version, I guess, if you will.
But with the heavy traffic, we did not want. I mean, our buses would have been stationed at our schools, but being able to drop off the students at home and then our bus drivers run double routes, then being able to get back
Sure.
to take our elementary students home, that may have been in question. We did not want to put any of our families in
Sure,
that
better to be
situation.
safe than sorry and regret that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and then more information for our students to come. I'm sure a lot of classrooms will be, talking about the eclipse as it gets closer
Right.
to April.
It is a learning opportunity.
Definitely.
Moving on to personnel recommendations 4.01. As I say, those personnel recommendations are included for your perusal. And then the next item, 4.02, was the swearing in of Brian Hessler, who is our latest school resource officer.
And then I think that takes us to 6 items under information list.
Yes, 5.01 through 5.06 are the monthly reports that Carl Underwood, our chief finance officer, provides to our school board. 5.05 is a quarterly report for self-insurance that's provided 4 times a year. But um, all of those reports, as we say from time to time, are included on board docs, and you can search them back to 2008.
Okay, and then that took us to continued business. And I know last night you thanked a lot of teachers in attendance and shared that you certainly are a believer in the work they do, and you have tremendous value and respect for them.
Absolutely. So wanted to make certain that that message was heard by those in attendance, and gave a brief update about negotiations. And I do know, having talked to Lori Young, president of ETA, after meeting last night, that both groups feel that we are very, very close and hope that we will get a tentative agreement very soon.
Looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
that wraps up another school board meeting. A lot of good news at the beginning of the meeting, and a nice meeting to run throughout the evening. So appreciate you taking the time going through that with us, Dr. Smith.
Always my pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.